everybody, take two. Yeah, when I started looking for stuff, I guess they didn't like what I had to say the first take of this. Yeah, it's December 19th, 2023. Remember, I am a clairvoyant, clairaudient psychic, so everything is for entertainment purposes only. The full disclaimer's down in the box, along with my buy me a coffee, cream soda, and also my email. So if anybody, I do have openings over the next couple of weeks. So if anybody wants a reading for the new year, just shoot me an email, put reading inquiry in the subject line. Okay, and I'll get back to you. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I'm just going to go through it as I took the notes. So I may be bouncing around, but hey, this is how I work. Yeah, in the mornings when I get up and have my coffee and I'm going through all the news sources and so forth, I always check my email. And this morning I got a unique email. It was from somebody letting me know that Barry, via JoJo, has now put in an emergency request to the Supreme Court of the USA to strip Donald of all his presidential immunity. Well, if they do that for Donald, doesn't that make it a blanket? It sets a precedent where people then can go after Barry and Billy and then JoJo after next January, after January of 25. I mean, if you take presidential immunity away from one guy, you set the precedent where nobody has presidential immunity. And especially because right now we've got basically Barry is promising Gruesome Newsom some good stuff should the donkeys remain in office. Because in a couple of weeks, I mean, we know that Hunter blew off his congressional subpoena. And Barry is going to cover Hunter's butt on that. And then Hunter has to go to California because he messed up on his taxes real big. Well, the next one the IRS is going to snatch is what? Jim Biden? Because he wrote a check out saying loan repayment. I think everything after $10,000, you're supposed to document it on paper. And there's no paper trail for that alleged loan. Yeah, kind of weird. And plus, Biden's daughter messed up, hasn't paid her taxes either. So IRS is coming back to bite him in the butt. And remember, you take away presidential immunity from one, you basically have taken it away from all. Maybe then we can go after Billy and see what he was doing down on that island. I mean, maybe then we can subpoena for Michelle to go in for an actual medical exam with a DNA analysis. Is she double X or an XY? I mean, yeah, somebody, another Hollywood celebrity mentioned that instead of saying Michelle, said Michael. I mean, they intentionally bumped off Joan Rivers because she admitted it. Will this other celebrity be next on the list? Remember, Barry, karma bites 3 times hard. You're pulling all this stuff using JoJo. When it comes around to bite you in the butt, Barry, thank goodness your butt is brown so the bruises don't show as badly. But it will be biting you hard. Now, okay, things coming back to bite people hard. The Big Red Sea. Okay, It was announced that Sri Lanka, their capital city, Colombo, is a big shipping port. Starting in January, China can't have any of their ships docked there. They're getting kicked out. So no more spy ships. Yeah, it's like China bought up a lot of shit in Sri Lanka, but you know what? The people basically said, we're not putting up with any more dictatorships and faux governments. So they stood up for themselves, and China, you are no longer allowed to dock your spy ships in Colombo. I mean, that's a perfect space for them to keep an eye on the Middle East, like Iraq, Iran, the Arabian Peninsula and everything, and India, and be stationed so they're both sides of all the island nations. So, yeah, no more docking in Sri Lanka. And it's now reported that the Hong Kong financial market is tanking big time. I guess it had an overnight drop of over 15%. Not good. Well, China also, their real estate market has bottomed out. I mean, thank you to their stunt, what they released in summer of 19. Yeah, you decimated your middle class. So you've got all these half-built apartment block towers. They're basically a skeleton structure with the wind blowing through them. Because you decimated your middle class, so you have no people kicking in their hard-earned paychecks back to the government for housing. And now, within the past 24, 36 hours, northwest area, I guess it's in Gansu, got hit with a 6.2 earthquake. Yeah, that's like quite a few little not-so-nice things happening at once. And now they're releasing that, oh yeah, the new form of Enza that flies in your window has a new name. It's called JN.1. Just no .1? Yeah. Well, it seems to be spreading across the like the landmass. I mean, remember, Europe and Asia are connected, even though they're considered two separate continents. I mean, this landmass goes from the Pacific to the Atlantic. Well, I guess it's spreading out of China all through the Asian nations. Like Singapore's hit real bad. India's getting slammed with it. We don't know what's going on in Myanmar or Thailand because they keep real quiet. Haven't seen any news from Vietnam or Laos or Cambodia, but they're probably getting hit. Well, it's spreading westward along the Euro-Asian landmass. There are cases already in Germany, documented, cases in the UK. Well, because of the nonsense in 19 and 20, people aren't taking this version of the Enza very, very seriously. And they're like, no, you're not going to shut us down again. Not happening. So, China, you already pulled this stuff once. You think you can do it again? Not happening. Not happening. Now, something I caught this morning, and I was watching it, and I'm laughing about it because, okay, there's this guy, David Mamet. He's an author, screenwriter, playwright, and he has a new book out, and it's called Everywhere in Oink Oink. Now, remember, it's like certain people use the term porcupines or when pigs fly. Well, David Mamet has been in the film biz for a very long time. I mean, I think one of the first big films he had out was called About Last Night, and it was based in Chicago, and the original working title was Sexual Perversity in Chicago, but they had to clean up the name, clean up the title of the movie. Yeah, it was with, Demi Moore and Rob Lowe? It was back in the 80s. Yeah, I remember I was an extra on it way back when. And well, yeah, he wrote this new book, and it is basically a story. I mean, he's talking about, he's slamming all the woke nonsense and how everything is streaming now. I mean, we got stuck, like forcibly told to stay at home. So of course the streaming channels got a big push, and people like either stream something or read a book. I mean, movies back in the 80s when I started, it was like some movies that were so bad that the production companies sent them straight to the video store, straight to video. Well, now something's a piece of garbage, it goes straight to streaming services. It doesn't get released in the theater. Well, Mama wrote the book Everywhere and Oink Oink, and it's basically all the raunchy stories that go on in Hollywood. Hollyweird. And there's a lot of raunch. A lot of really nasty stories. I mean, I've heard some of them, and no, I don't dare put them up here for public consumption because can't afford the attorney fees. I mean, talking about, this weekend, what was that guy, Christian something or other, put up on his Instagram about somebody? I mean, check out Duchess of Sussex. She did a great video on it. So, yeah, I mean, Mammoth is put out Everywhere and Oink Oink for raunchy stories. Duchess of Sussex did a great video on the newest scuttlebutt hitting the town of LA and how it's connected with Harry and Meghan, the gruesome twosome. Now, one thing you also go on, because it's been leaked out, finally. Yeah, I knew about this ages ago. I couldn't talk about it because I was asked to keep things quiet. But I guess Rachel had originally wanted, like, the big emerald. You know, we've seen the gorgeous necklace that Catherine wore to that Earthshot thing with the green dress. Diana wore it as a headband. Well, I guess Rachel wanted one of the big emeralds taken out and cut and have it reset in with diamonds and pave, in a pave band as her engagement ring. And the Queen said, ain't happening. Yeah, I mean, I kind of laugh at some of these scuttlebutt channels, but the one Royal Massive, they released the information about her demanding what she really wanted with the jewelry. And the Queen said, no way on earth, because, yeah, when you marry into a family like that, there are some gorgeous pieces of jewelry, but they're on loan. And you actually have to sign documents stating that it's a loan, that you do not own these pieces. I mean, the big expensive pieces, no, they're on loan. The people don't own them. The women don't own them. And at a certain time, they are to be returned to the crown. But, yeah, I mean, okay, Rach, this is my real emerald. And, yeah, it's set with white sapphires. This one's a real emerald, too, and just set with white topaz. Got mine. Plus, I have a couple other ones. I think I wore a while back the real piece that, I've got some real pieces. Yeah. But yeah, it's like Henry and Rachel. They're being exposed. Blair on her channel really, hey, she put it out there. And something that, while watching everything, we know that it's been announced that Henry and Rachel have been cut from the guest list of Oprah's birthday party in January. Well, when you start doing the digging, you're going to find out it was Doria who most likely did the initial contact with her, being like a yoga instructor and stuff. And and we know it's one of the worst kept secrets. Allegedly, Oprah likes girls. So maybe Doria made herself available in a certain way to Oprah in order to get the connection so Oprah would come to her daughter's wedding. So with this, it was like the Doria made the connection with Oprah and everything. I don't think Rachel isn't that smart. I think it's actually Doria being the puppet master on those two. I mean, she did go, allegedly, she went and spent some time in the pokey. And just listen to Graham. I mean, he can say being in the pokey is a real education. So if Doria was in the pokey, she probably learned some very valuable skills on manipulation. And then when she got out, that's when she realized she could use her daughter, manipulate her daughter to get what she wanted. And taught little Rachel how to do certain things and how to manipulate men. So Doria basically made sure Rachel was alienated from her half-siblings and her father. Doria has nothing to do with her own family. So Rachel's mother, Doria, basically alienated her from everyone. And she's the one who's manipulating, and actually because she's the one who got Oprah the invite to the big wedding. I think it was Doria who helped make up the guest list, excluding all family members. And plus, she's got the connections to provide the party favors that Henry loves. So, what's going on here? I think it's her. And I've been looking. We haven't seen any new photos of Henry. I'm getting the feeling that after this court thing that went up last Friday, I don't think he went directly back to California. Because Daddy was on the same general area at the same time he was. Could Daddy have sent a car to take him back to his old bedroom at Highgrove? Maybe Henry did. Maybe because he had his own game room and stuff down in the basement. Maybe Henry is down in Highgrove, hanging out, getting ready to spill the truth to Daddy. Because like Fiona said, we want to see how much he's got to pay to everybody else. It's going to be. So, yeah, I think Henry's in Highgrove. So, we'll see what happens. Now, we've got all this nonsense going on in D.C. and the other big cities, and I did put some of it up on my Elon account about how the donkeys have taken down the statue that is to represent the reconciliation monument that was put up after the conflict that started in 1861. Now, this was a monument to honor men from both sides that died at Arlington National Cemetery, and the donkeys are dismantling it. Yeah, they're rewriting history. Pretty soon they're going to start saying that Hitler was a good guy. Doesn't surprise me. Right now we've got pro-Palestinian idiots all over the place. I mean, I can say I'm not the biggest fan of Alec Baldwin. I know he's a hothead. He shoots from the hip. He speaks first and thinks second. I mean, he doesn't think before he speaks. But this time, thankfully, there were NYPD around because he was going off to do something and caught on the sidewalk by a bunch of idiots. And he really shouted these idiots down and made them, like, kind of, oh my God, called them out on their BS crap. And it's ironic that all these big pro-Palestinian fools, puppets, they're hiding their faces using that religious scarf. Just like the BLM brats. They hid their faces behind masks and stuff so nobody can identify. But, hey dudes, your eyeballs are all being seen. Facial recognition. I mean, how many times in science fiction movies have we seen people saying, oh, you have to look into something to get in through a door because they map the vessels in your eye? Yeah, fingerprints can kind of be forged with little stick-on jobbers, but not your eyes. So yeah, you're not totally protected. You're not totally hiding your identity, fools. And these are the idiots that support Hamas. And now it's becoming more and more evident, and people are actually talking about it, that the eye cult uses the strategy of human Kevlar. Especially in the Gaza Strip, that United Nations schools, the UNRWA, well, they started the schools in 1967. So you've got 2-3 generations of people who've been taught that it's good to give your life up in order to spread your extreme, perverted version of your religion. That if you're a martyr, that's the greatest thing you could be, is a martyr to promote your extreme, ridiculous religion. So that's why all over that area, everything is hidden within private homes, schools, hospitals. Yeah, so if your house goes boom, boom, and everybody is like, then broken up into a gazillion pieces, well, they're taught that they'll go straight to paradise, and that's a good thing. Self-sacrifice for the whacked, extreme religious doctrine is everybody's goal in life. And now it's coming out that, the Red Cross, the International Red Cross, is actually run out of Switzerland. Okay, during World War II, they dispersed the good Nazi propaganda about Theresienstadt. Well, now, Iran is not even allowing the Red Cross to go into Gaza. So they're basically pissing off the boys in Switzerland and the Davos dudes. Don't they realize that they're being subsidized? Denying the Red Cross to go in and check on the hostages? They're losing money and supplies because they're supposed to be taking orders from Davos, the Davos dudes. And they're screwing it up for themselves. But then, the Davos dudes, many align with the Judeo-Christian faiths. So Iran is cutting off the hand that's feeding it by not letting the Red Cross in. Yeah. I mean, the other thing that's going on now is, okay, Poland just had elections. Well, they went from a conservative government where they put in some puppets now that are pro-EU. Well, you see, Poland, I mean, they put in a government system kind of like to what we've got idiots in the White House now. But the Polish people have long memories. They don't like the blue and yellow flag idiots. And they were kind of siding with Hungary. Now, Hungary is being slapped on the wrist because they vetoed this stuff to give the Z guy more funding and stuff. And now they're trying to punish Viktor Orban for his veto. Well, the people of Hungary are like, hey, we could take it or leave the EU. And yes, Poland was tight with Hungary on this until the EU manipulated the election so they would have a pro-EU government established. Well, they forgot that the other little country called Slovakia is anti-EU, is also anti-blue and yellow flag country. There's a lot of small little Eastern European countries that were part of the Soviet bloc that don't like the blue and yellow flag country because the soldiers from the blue and yellow flag country were so nasty they made the Nazis look like nice guys. And people were raised hearing the stories of how those men were. And so the dislike for the Z guy and his minions. Talk about generational bias? That's a whole new definition. It's not looking good for the Z guy. Because a lot of people will be backing those smaller Eastern Bloc countries that don't want to have anything else to do with them. Now, as for my local news, oh my God, Baboon is going batshit crazy. Because what they're doing here is like, okay, we've got this stupid little drop-off location and time frame. Well, then what they're doing is that there's a bunch of warehouses, buildings that are vacant because companies have just moved the heck out because of Beetlejuice and Baboon. So now these companies that had like big warehouses, so that's where they're dumping the illegals to. And I guess some kid died from the chicken pox. Well, Baboon's going batshit. He's yelling. He's all upset at Greg Abbott for sending this stuff up. Well, Baboon, you said you were going to provide medical health care? Why don't you use up all that back stock of the whatchamacallit that people didn't take? And all the other vaccines that people don't give their kids because they don't know all the details and the side effects? Why don't you start using up all that vaccine on all the people that you're sticking in the warehouses? Okay? Let's pump them full of all this, of the whatchamacallit that they tried to get so many of us to take. So that way your butt is covered, Baboon. And stop trying to give Greg Abbott grief. It's actually Biden that's letting these people in. It's not Texas's fault. Although Greg just signed a bill making it a state crime to enter Texas illegally via coming through the Rio Grande. Now, is he going to follow the example of that guy outside of Phoenix who has that open air county jail where everybody's in tents? I mean, there's some nasty, scrubland in Texas. There's barbed wire, razor wire, put up a tent city of these idiots. You come in illegally, you're going into the holding pen. Well, let's put it this way, especially for the Jihad army, they'll feel right at home because basically the weather in South Texas is very close to the weather in the Middle East. So, hey, that's what I've got for you for today. So, I hope everyone is having a good week. I know everybody's swamped. I have to, as soon as I'm done with this, it's like I have to go back to baking. So, like I said, if I do have time over the next couple of weeks, if anyone wants a reading, shoot me an email. This Saturday, yes, I'll be doing a live broadcast. I mean, I'll have my a regular video up at 4:30 on the 21st, and then 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time. I will be doing a live broadcast on the 23rd. So, yeah. If you want to have some pre-Christmas questions, get them ready for this Saturday. So, everyone have a great evening. I'll catch you on Thursday. Bye.